So I just got off work, and something was on my mind from yesterday. I went to an open mat at the 10th Planet downtown, and near the end of the session, there was this guy that I had seen rolling around, and he looked really good. So I asked him to go, and we started to roll. We started standing, and I think in the future, I didn't get like hurt really bad, but in the past, I've been like slammed on my head by someone before. So I usually do not stand up with someone if I don't know them. I like to sit down and kind of feel how they are, and then I'll decide whether or not I trust them to stand up with them. If I am going to stand up with someone, I keep in mind just to be really defensively sound. Um, but I think I should have started sitting down with this guy. Um, so that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think about like what I could take from this scenario. So we start wrestling, and kind of like the energy he had was just intense. And the way I describe it is there's people can roll with like 100% effort, but not have any intensity in it. So you can try like you would at it, like as hard as you can, but there's this energy that's relaxed still while you're doing that. And it's hard to explain if you haven't rolled, but it's something you notice when you start rolling with someone really quickly. You feel their energy. And so I noticed this guy had like an intense energy, and I was doing my best to just kind of stay calm while he was doing certain things. But throughout the roll, I think I naturally kind of like met his level. And he took me down a couple times. I'd stand back up. But in between that, when I was scrambling up, he was doing things that were kind of like irritating me. So, for instance, the one of the things he did, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I think there should be probably a mutual understanding between training partners in a competition, whatever. Between training partners, it's whatever, as long as you have like a rapport. Um, and that being said, even with that, like him doing it isn't that bad at the end of the day. It just is something that feels kind of aggravating. He was on top, and he just like puts his hand on my neck and is just like holding me there, which is a legit grip. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but it is like it can be aggravating if you don't know the person. But I was doing my best to just stay calm and addressing it, peeling it off. Uh, Another point down the line, he had me in his close guard, and he kind of like tried just like quickly throwing on a wrist lock on me, just from like a weird position. Not even like he was gonna finish it. Like he didn't have isolation on my arm. He just like was trying to create a reaction, which again, that's fine. Like I understand creating a reaction, but just still just felt kind of off. And it felt like there was just like some malice rolling with this guy. It made me uncomfortable. And so then we went into an exchange where he got onto my leg, and this was at the very end of the round. He got onto my leg, and he put on a heel hook, and he didn't do it like super quick, but it was quick enough. No, he did it quick, but it wasn't like he put his like hips all the way into it. So in that sense, I was safe. But in a training sense, it just made me uncomfortable. Like, and it made me upset that he put it on that quickly. And so right after that, I told him that I didn't like the energy he kind of had. Like, I didn't like how quick he put that on. and he got really defensive, and we talked for like probably 2 or 3 minutes, maybe like four, just like back and forth. And at first I was upset. Like, it definitely made me angry, and that was probably very clear in the moment. And he got really defensive right away. And as we started talking, he asked me if there was anything else that he did that I found kind of odd, and I told him his energy while we were rolling like felt kind of like there was some malice behind it. It felt intense. It felt like it was like a competition, honestly. Like, I've competed in competitions, I know what it's like, and that's kind of what it felt like. And when I'm training, I don't like that. When I'm training, I prefer to be a lot more calm with my training partners and relaxed. And I was thinking about it. It's kind of like he was the complete opposite. His training style is kind of like the complete opposite of what I try and have my training style be. I try and be slow, methodical. He was technical, but I try and be technical. And just like controlled and chill. And he was very like physically imposing. He was maybe like 10, 20 pounds heavier than me. He wasn't that much bigger, but he felt really strong. So he was physically imposing. His game was very aggressive, and his style was aggravating, but very technical too. He wasn't like bad or anything. And yeah, it got to the point where like we were talking, and he kept just like, he was making points, but he was just not really, we weren't going to come to an understanding. So after a while, I was like, you know what, it's fine. Like, we're not going to agree on this. We don't have to roll. Like, that's good. You know, it's fine. And he was actually only visiting for a day. I didn't know that. So he's actually from California. He's not from Vegas. He just visited for the day. Which I thought was odd, to come to an open mat and have that sort of energy. It seems like aggressive. But the whole reason why I'm bringing this up is because I kind of wanted to share that experience and kind of how I've gone about processing it. That being said, I was journaling this morning, kind of just like trying to think it out, because I woke up and it was bugging me. I was like, man, like, what do I need to take from this? What did I do anything that like was out of line? Not during the roll. During the roll I felt fine, but like me being upset the way I was upset, was that out of line? Me bringing it up with him, was that out of line? Like, just kind of like, I really wanted to sit back and think about what happened and what my thoughts on the situation. Because I think initially a lot of my thoughts were very emotional, because it was emotionally jarring. And even now I can tell it's still kind of bugging me. I'm not sure why it's bugging me, but it feels like it hasn't been resolved. So I'll just jump into kind of like the things that I initially took from it, and just see if anything else comes from it. I'm just going to read everything I wrote so it's just clear. Yesterday I rolled with this dude. He felt strong and of a similar level to me. His energy while rolling with me felt intense. He took me down twice, and both times we stood up. Near the end of the round, he got me in a heel hook, and at the time, I want to emphasize at the time, because thinking back, it was quick, but it was controlled. But at the time, it just felt really quick. At the time, I felt that he put it on too quick. I told him this right away, and he got very defensive. Over our conversation, he brought up some good points. He didn't fully hip into the heel hook, which I'm grateful for. If he had hipped in, that's what generates a lot of the pressure. And that, if he had hipped in, my leg would be fucked. So he said he was rolling 60%, which it did feel like more to me when he said that. It just didn't feel right. You can tell how hard someone's rolling, and it felt like it was definitely more than 60%. Maybe not 100%, but it felt like he was putting a lot into it. We did not come to an understanding at the time, although it did make it clear that there were no hard feelings. And that was something that I did after communicating. I was like, hey man, like I just want you to know, like there's no hard feelings. I'm just communicating this because I think it's important to like verbally communicate this sort of stuff between training partners so there's no weird energy. And he was just defensive the whole time, so I don't think it really got through to him that I wasn't trying to like criticize him. You know, I was just focused on something he had done that I felt uncomfortable with him doing. I noticed I felt stuck on it this morning. My ego wants to be right, but I honestly feel embarrassed about my reaction. I think I got amped up from the roll and felt salty that he tapped me with the heel hook. This is the part that like I noticed I think I had to admit to myself. That's the truth, and saying it out loud feels better, not resisting how I feel. So I think realistically on my end, that is probably something that is something that I think I could have processed myself. I think it influenced kind of my reaction to it. For some reason, like I thought about it because I was like, if he had tapped me with an armbar quickly, that's fine. Like I tapped arm bars when they're on quick. Like there's a few, I guess there's two different things. Like twisting locks, like Kimuras or heel hooks. I've had people rip Kimuras on me before, and it's always been really upsetting to me because it's like one of those things where it could just pop. And so I think part of me recognized I was salty because it was a heel hook. But at the same time, there's certain submissions that I think need to be trained very carefully with. And I think I didn't feel safe with the energy he had, and choosing to go into a heel hook with the same energy that he had made me feel uncomfortable. So now that I'm kind of saying that out loud, I think that's why I felt upset about that. Now that being said, I can take away lessons from what happened and how to respond to it in the future. Because at the end of the day, like I'm not worried about what happened. I want to get a grasp on how I can respond to something in the future that's of a similar situation. You know, I want to not be put in this situation again. I want to have an answer for it. So, and looking at the roll, he did roll a certain way that felt aggravating. Like it was kind of his way of rolling. He had aggressive collar ties, strong head position, like a bull-like style, wrist locked me in guard and had his hand over my neck while we rolled. All of that is effective, although it felt aggravating at the same time. And I was thinking about, he seemed like kind of a young dude. Probably has been training since he was younger. And it felt like I felt like he comes from a competitive gym where they're all killers. Like that's just the sense that I got based off of how he rolled. And there's nothing wrong with that as a style. I just think it doesn't align with what I look for in training partners. And that being said, I think I could be wrong. Maybe his gym is like, he's just that way, but it's not from his gym. But I have a feeling that that's just the way him and his training partners train. What is it, Bogey? What is it? Where is he? What is it? You want to go in? Oh, no. Okay. So he might not even know better. That's the other thing. Like, to me, it seems like something I might not vibe with, but like, if that's the only way he's trained and he's been taught to train, I can't blame him. You know, it just comes down to me choosing my training partners more wisely if that's something I don't want to engage with. But then this is another point. I said he is a good partner in the sense that he gave me a real look at my game against a tough opponent. And so I was thinking about it, and I was like, this is good in a healthy way. Like, it's humbling being put up against someone that outside of... This is why competitions are important. I think competitions are important because you go up against someone that's really trying. You know, a lot of the times with our training partners, it's a lot more laid back and chill. And so that's the importance of competition, or having training partners that aren't chill and do give you that look. And he was a tough dude. Like, I couldn't really hit any good offense on him. I felt myself get a bit riled up rolling with him. I didn't realize... I didn't retaliate energetically, which is good, but my energy met his style and brought me away from my usual energy. Like, I've noticed sometimes in the past when people do it, there's like a malice that will happen energetically inside of myself where I get pissed off and then I start rolling like pissed off. And I really go out of my way to catch myself when I feel those feelings arise, because I just think it's not fair to my opponent. It's not fair to me. It can put them in danger. It can put me in danger. And so while I felt myself getting riled up, I was keeping myself in check. But even then, I think his pace was so consistent. I didn't have like time to breathe in the sense to like get it real under control and chill in a position, because it was just constant pressure. And I thought that... Hold on, let me let him out. Go on, Bumps. Good boy. I thought it was interesting because it brought me away from what I'm comfortable doing usually. Like, his style, like, normally I can, like, suck people into my style, but I got sucked into his style, which made me just uncomfortable. I would have not reacted the way I did if he had hit any other submission. Like I said, that's what I wrote at early in the morning. When now that I think about it, a Kimura would have made me upset if he hit it in a similar fashion. This is another thing. I think I was salty because it's a hole in my game, and I don't know how to defend leg locks properly. I can, like, avoid the leg lock position, but, like, once I get into a heel hook, it's definitely something I want to work on at some point, and that's fine. Eventually I'll start diving into that, just because there's so much to work on. You know, there's so many parts of my game I'm, like, pouring energy into. There's only, realistically, you can pick a few, and the other ones have to sit out for a little bit until you work on them. My knee did feel a little loose today. I noticed that my MCL ligament doesn't really feel like... I could feel it kind of moving a little bit, so I think I tapped early enough, but I think it does kind of... it does... What's the word? I can't think of the word. It's like a word meaning... I don't know. It kind of justifies my feeling of like that heel hook being put on a little quick. I can't think of the word for it, but I think it was put on quicker than what other people would have done. This is interesting. So I said in the future I should explore that energy with people like that, and just be sure to be okay with tapping quickly, or be defensive so that I can stay within my energy, my style, and not risk injury. It seems like either I meet them there and be cautious of injury, or retreat to a more defensive approach and strategically pick my battles while staying safe. And so I was thinking about like that option in the future when I'm put up against someone like that's tough like that. In a competition it's different because you're there, like you're ready to go 100%. In training, a lot of the time I'm never going at that 100% mark. I'm usually reserving like a large percentage of my output of energy, and I won't fight over positions to the death. Like it's just a lot more relaxed of training. And the reason, yeah, I'm not sure. It's weird. I don't know which way to kind of go with it. And that's why I'm kind of talking this out, is like and it does feel unresolved. Do I want to approach someone when they have that style in training and like match their energy and just do my best to be cautious of injury? Because I think when you match that energy, you're exposing yourself to injury. You're more prone to injury. And that's something that's like concerning to me, especially in training, because I want to train for a long time. But there's some benefit to training like that. And you know what? I think you can get that type of training, but with training partners that you feel safe with. And so I think if someone has that energy and I don't know them, I need to either stop rolling with them because I don't want to get hurt, or I need to be extremely defensively sound to where I'm not exposing myself to get hurt. And I can kind of strategically pick when I go for things and when I give up things so that I'm not fighting a battle with them constantly. I think that's it. Yeah, that feels right. If I don't know someone, be defensive, be chill, let them, like dominate the positions and like do what they're going to do, but just stay safe. And then if something arises that I like can set up and take, I'll do that. And if I want that hard training, do it with a partner that I trust is like going to keep me safe. Yeah, that feels right. And I think one thing that I want to emphasize too, like you'll see posts on Reddit, on the jiu-jitsu subreddit, where guys are like really upset with their training partners or upset with like random people like this. And for good reason. Like, it's good to feel uncomfortable. Like, I was upset with that guy. Like, it's a natural feeling to feel upset. But I think it's too easy to blame the other person sometimes and make them bad. I think it's really important when having a situation like this to take a step back and really think about, like, okay, what can I take away from this? Like, try and understand what happened. So, like, why did I feel upset? It's like I felt upset for, like, a multitude of reasons that I've explained in the video. Am I justified in feeling those? Like, was it really something that he did that made me upset, or was it just like a response that I had because of something else going on? Like, even though I was upset he put it on quick and my knee is kind of feeling a little weird today, he didn't hip into it like he could have. So I think that's kind of, it's hard to differentiate, like, to figure out when you're right to feel mad and when feeling mad is just an emotion and you just kind of like let it go and then think about the lessons that you can try and take from it. It's weird though, because it did feel like just off. I think I have a lot of uncertainty in the way I think about situations, which is good. But sometimes I think you gotta like trust your gut. Like, even though he said he wasn't going 60%, or he was only going 60%, in my gut feeling, it didn't feel like that. It felt like he was going like 80, 90% with a lot of intensity behind it. And that just didn't sit right with me. I can feel it in my chest. It felt like he wasn't concerned with my well-being. And I think that's what was so off-putting. And that's what's hard to, like, I think in the moment bringing it up with someone, it's hard to communicate that, because it's more of like an energetic feeling where I can feel what's happening with him. I can like feel his energy. I can feel my energy. And I know when I feel safe or not. and I didn't feel safe with him. And that's where I probably just shouldn't have rolled with him. I should have just said, I don't want to roll with you anymore. And that's tough too, because then like your ego in the moment wants to keep going. Because some dude is like giving you a tough time and he's being like aggressive and aggravating. It's like you want to fucking prove him wrong. You know, it's like this monkey duel happening where like we're like butting heads energetically. Like neither one of us wants to give up, you know. And that's what I like about life. You know, it's like you're thrown a challenge. Like yesterday was challenging to me. It was physically challenging, it was mentally challenging, emotionally challenging. You know, it was like the roll against him was hard. The emotions I felt from him and the emotions I felt from myself were hard to deal with. The like resolving it like in my mind is difficult, you know? So it's like, and it's not wrong. It's not bad. It's difficult, and it can be kind of like, I think being uncertain about things and not sure why something happened or not sure why you feel a certain way can be kind of like upsetting. But it's natural. You know, it's just like part of life. It's part of this process of like figuring shit out. And in the moment it's really uncomfortable, but afterwards it's always better. You know, like you always learn something from it. You have to be focused on learning something from it, you know. And that goes into what I was saying earlier. Like it's important not to just blame the other person for what's happening. You got to really sit back and be like, what can I take from this? What was my part in the situation? How do I grow from this? So yeah, that was kind of like, I have a feeling a lot of that was kind of incoherent. Not incoherent, but like a tangent. And I think the reason why is because a lot of this was me processing it out loud. So it's not very like clear and concise. Like it hasn't been flushed out prior to me talking about it. But that's the point of this video. I kind of just wanted to throw in a video where I'm not talking about something that I feel like I have kind of like thought about for a little bit, to where it's like clean. I kind of just wanted to throw in a video where it showed more of like the process and how it's like actually uncomfortable. It's not always easy to like kind of process this sort of stuff, but it's worth it. So